2, 3, 4.
Run up your engine! This is a 2006 Nissan Xterra that a customer bought a couple years ago for around $3,000. Now, if you've been watching me any period of time, you know I'm not a big Nissan fan, but back in 06, they were still making some decent vehicles, especially these SUVs. This particular one's the Xterra. The Pathfinders are pretty much the same exact vehicle. The woman who bought this vehicle, she's loved it. $3 grand, still runs really well. She likes the fact she can move stuff with it, furniture, whatever. This baby's got a lot of space, high enough in the air. It's got good clearance, going through some water and stuff. And under the hood, well, the hood rod's missing, so I gotta replace that. My handy dandy PCV pipe, there, won't fall down now. Got a big old 4-liter V6. Very dependable Nissan engine. Yeah, it's the timing chain. Not one of those timing belt ones. This has a timing chain in it. Nissan over the years been kind of weird. Some of their V6 engines still had rubber timing belts. Some went to chains. This has the chain. If you're looking for one, don't buy one with a belt. Buy one with a chain. They're better motors, less maintenance. They work perfectly fine. This one got 207,995 miles. Starts right up. The AC's still blowing freezing cold. And sure, it's got a warning light for the tire pressure monitoring system. Those are broken. The seatbelt light's on, but the seatbelt works, so who cares? It also has the traction control system not working right. Part of that's because of those sensors, but they get old. That traction control stuff never worked that good anyway. You just ignore it. It goes back to non-traction control, normal driving when they break. And when you look at the overall setup, seats are real comfy, old, lots of mileage, still not torn through. You can see the back is absolutely ginormous. You could have a hockey game in the back seat there. This thing is huge. Now, when you combine the huge size and weight with the 210 horsepower V6, yeah, they're gas hogs. There's no arguing that. You don't buy a vehicle like this to get good gas mileage. This one gets about 14 miles a gallon in town and about 18 miles a gallon on the highway. They're pretty much gas hogs. But you want a vehicle like that? That's what you're going to get. It's square, it's up in the air, it's heavy, and it's got a powerful engine. Now, this particular one is classic rear-wheel drive. It's not the all-wheel drive version. So it has a 5-speed automatic transmission. And you know, I'm always talking about Nissans and Jatcos and bad transmissions. This transmission isn't bad because it's not a front-wheel drive transmission. Rear-wheel drive, 5-speed automatic. This thing's got over 200,000 miles, still shifts like a dream. And their trucks, they were putting good transmissions in the rear-wheel drive ones. I've had scores of customers over the last 30 years buy Xterras or Pathfinders, and they were totally happy with the vehicles. Now, some when they got really old, they decided it was time to get rid of them, but hey, you get 250, 300,000 or more out of a vehicle, what's to complain about if you were the original owner? Or in the case of this woman, $3,000, she's still driving it, hasn't thrown any real money into it. That's a bargain. She brought it here because somebody was trying to rip her off for $800 for a brake job, and I've checked it. The only thing it needs is front pads, which I'm going to change after I make this video. No big deal. They're pretty reliable vehicles. They just were. The new ones? Yeah, not so much. No, they don't make these Xterras anymore. They made them from 1999 to 2015. The main reason being that they're pretty much gas hogs. And they're all trying to make vehicles that get better gas mileage. Who knows? Maybe they'll bring it back. They always keep taking things away, bringing things back. You never know what people are going to sell. But they didn't stop making them because they were absolute junkers. The market forces just made them decide, well, we don't want a big gas hog to sell, so we'll stop making them. And like I said, not only can you fit a bunch of stuff inside, but this has got the fancy top on it. You can put a whole bunch of luggage, bicycles, whatever you want on the top, too. So let's get rid of the rod. Take it for a spin. As we go in, like I say, it starts right up. It's a stable driving platform, that's sure. You're up high enough in the air. Doesn't have much body roll. As you can see, when you step on the gas, the wheels are spinning because it's wet. This thing still has get up and go, still shifts smooth. Hey, 200-something thousand miles. This thing was pretty solid built. And being big and heavy, it rides quite well for an SUV. Sure, the gas mileage isn't that great, but it's stable. This thing still has the original shocks and struts on it. Still handles decent. For $3 grand, hey, not a bad deal, really. Hey, corner's fine. Sure, the windshield's got a big crack in it, but hey, it's not the car's fault. all in all, it's a pretty fun driving experience. As old as it is, it still goes, handles, brakes. Now, when this particular vehicle was new, it wasn't a particularly loaded one. It was two-wheel drive, not all-wheel drive. It's about $21,000, which was a decent deal back in the day. Look at it, 200-something thousand miles, still runs strong, shifts strong, stops strong. They weren't bad cars. Hey, if you could pick one up that looks as good as this, that runs as good as this, 2 years ago for $3,000, now it's got over 200,000 miles, it's still going strong, I call that a deal. Because the only customers of mine that bought these things that weren't happy were people that did horrendous maintenance. They didn't change the oil enough, then the engine started burning up the piston rings because the oil was so low. I had one customer, they'd bring me it once a year, and they'd say, get it inspected, change the oil and service it. Well, I drained the plug and like half a quart of oil would come out. And I told them, watch the oil, change it, it burns some oil, add it in between. Then the next year, the same thing. Here it comes, half a quart of oil left. I tell them the same thing. Well, after 4 years of that, the engine finally was going out and they had to sell it. But if they would have changed the oil regularly and topped it up when it used some, they'd still be driving that thing around. Now, the modern Nissans, not so much. They're not solid built like these things were. And this thing wasn't even made in Japan. It was made in Tennessee. They obviously did a good job. 15 years later, 200,000 something miles, still going down the road, track's good, shift's good, AC still blows cold. They did a good job on this thing. Most of the parts are still original. Got the original air conditioner, alternator, ABS system. It's got a bunch of original parts still on it. The body's still in good shape. People taking care of it. They haven't bashed into things, but you can see, if you cleaned up those wheels, they'd look a lot better. But hey, and the paint's faded on the bumper, but the bumper's still solid. It's got the nice little foothold so you can climb up to the top. This was a well thought out vehicle. And man, you can put a lot of crap on the top here. And I do have to say, I felt safe and secure driving this thing around. Even though it's still got the original shocks and struts on the thing. Back in the day, these things were solid built. Gas hogs, yes, but fast, zippy, tons of space for carrying either people, or if you want to fold the seats down, anything you want, flat screen TVs, wood, whatever. They're very handy vehicles. So now you know the truth about this old Nissan Xterra SUV. You might be surprised at how long one of these things can last with just a little bit of maintenance. Don't be like my customer and let the oil get low and change it only once a year and wear the engine out. You take care of it, hey, you might get over 200,000 pretty much trouble-free miles out of one of these things. And you can pick up a used one dirt cheap like she did for $3,000. And here's some bonus questions and answers. Here we go. Just when you think the world couldn't get any crazier, now General Motors is requesting the removal of the judge and his vacate order from the RICO lawsuit that they had against Fiat Chrysler of racketeering. They're saying there was corrupted collective bargaining with Fiat Chrysler and that they bribed the United Workers Union to keep working for Fiat Chrysler. Now, to me, this is absolutely hilarious. We have on the one hand GM, who makes horrible vehicles. On the other hand, you have Fiat Chrysler, who probably makes even worse vehicles. And rather than make your vehicles better, they're suing each other. You couldn't make this stuff up. It is unbelievable. It turns out that General Motors is trying to vacate an order and move the judge who said racketeering charge against Fiat Chrysler was a waste of time. They're seeking unspecified damages from Chrysler, but it's going to be in the billions from what they say. Come on, GM, build cars right. Don't go suing another crappy company, Fiat Chrysler. You know, this has gotten to a point of absurdity. If you would have told me this was going to happen when I was a young mechanic in the 1960s, I would have said you're off your rocker. But the world has turned in strange and mysterious ways. So now one horrible car company is suing another car company, trying to get a judge thrown out so they can collect billions from Fiat Chrysler, who are pretty close to bankruptcy themselves anyways. So it's not like they'll ever collect any money, because if they did, they would just go bankrupt, just like GM did in the past. They went bankrupt, so they didn't pay for anything. So this is like rearranging the deck on the Titanic as it's sinking underneath the water. Stay tuned. Who knows what's going to happen tomorrow? So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.